evening, everybody. Thank you very much for the invitation. It's a great pleasure to be here today to speak about digital skills and coding. So let me focus on coding. We are speaking about digital skills, and all we know how digital skills are on demand. On the other hand, digital skills are kind of an enabling element for innovation, for growth, for development, even for personal empowerment. But coding is not yet another digital skill. Coding is not a digital skill. Regardless of any definition that we can find on the dictionary, coding, or the way in which we are speaking about coding, is not a digital skill. Coding is the enabler of digital skills. So we have to make a step forward or a step backward while speaking about coding, because coding is not programming. So we are not speaking about programming. We are speaking about a way of thinking. We are speaking about computational thinking. As such, coding is for everybody, not for programmers. Coding is not for programmers. Coding is for everybody. So there are no diversity issues in coding. There are no diversity issues in thinking. We have to make every people able to think, having the same instruments to do it, and then they can think whatever they want, and diversity becomes a value, not an issue. So what I would like to make it clear today is that coding as a way of thinking is just a transversal skill. Is not something that needs to be developed in order to focus on a gap that it's like a skill gap for employment, for development, for companies. Is just a basic fundamental skill that we need to learn or to acquire better as soon as possible. It's like a language. It's like our first language, our mother tongue. It's like writing, reading, speaking. It's just like mathematics. And as such, we need to understand how we learn our first language. And we do it basically in a very simple and natural way, which is driven by necessity, is driven by imitation, is driven by experience, by interaction, is driven by these kind of things, and in particular, experience, interaction, necessity are all elements that can be also applied with coding, thanks to the incredible amount of playful activities that are available online, playful tools and methods that are available nowadays to everybody. So the idea is that coding can be acquired exactly as we acquire our first language, and the sooner the better, as you know. So basically coding as a way of thinking is necessary for everybody. And this means that we need to get involved schools and to expose kids to the opportunity of learning to code, because coding is the best way and probably the fastest way of acquiring computational thinking skills, which means also problem-solving attitudes, problem-solving skills. When we learn a new language or when we learn our first language, we also acquire the capability of formulating complex thoughts. And with coding, we learn how to formulate complex thoughts which are also solutions to complex problems, because we learn how to think in an algorithmic way, which is something that can be applied to any kind of job, to any kind of discipline, to our own lives, not just for an ICT job or developing an ICT skill. On the other hand, if we manage to make coding like a common knowledge, then we may also focus on digital skills, speaking with people who already has the capability of thinking in such a way. So this means that even for breaking barriers, which are barriers basically cultural divide or socioeconomic barriers, or even diversity issues, and to get minorities and underrepresented groups engaged in coding and ICT. If we manage to bring coding in schools, we may make the difference, because the schools are the only playground in which we can really reach all our kids. If we do after hour or after school activities, we do something which is wonderful and which can help a lot, but it does not reach everybody. We end up reaching more or less always the same target, which are a few talented, gifted, and motivated young people who do not need our help, or just marginally need our help. So right now Europe has the great opportunity of taking part in Europe Code Week. So Europe Code Week is a grassroots initiative which is also promoted by the European Commission, but it is basically a grassroots initiative. And as such, it is a great opportunity because it is completely free of any bound, I would say, of any political or any economical issue. So this means that Europe Code Week is really for everybody. Europe Code Week is like an aggregator. So this means that Europe Code Week is not a method, Europe Code Week is not a tool, Europe Code Week is not a company, Europe Code Week is not a political party. Europe Code Week is just there as an aggregator, as a week, as the name suggests, that can be exploited by everybody. So I strongly invite every government, every party, every network, established network, which this kind of sensitivity, to take advantage of Europe Code Week and to get engaged into Europe Code Week. Europe Code Week will be from the 10th to the 18th of October, and in this week we need to create a critical mass of events in order to give to as many people as possible the opportunity of getting engaged with coding in a way which is as the way in which we learn our first language, but with an additional element, which is fun. So we need in this week to have fun with coding. And this is just a seed, but it's a great seed. Last year we managed to involve 150,000 people during this week with coding. So this means that 150,000 people for the first time started to code in that particular week of 2014. This year we need to go exponential. This means that this year we need to challenge ourselves to get involved more than 1 million people. And in order to succeed, we need the help of any relevant group, of any relevant community, of any relevant network. So I would like to invite all of you to do your best in order to make Europe Code Week a success and to really make the difference. Thank